This is the artificial intelligence voice of Chris Williamson narrating this pod-slice summary of the Modern Wisdom podcast. In the podcast, host Chris Williamson and Jeremy Boreing discuss their respective journeys into entrepreneurship and the challenges they faced in their careers. Boreing begins by sharing his early adoption of technology, such as the flip phone and his teenage self-identity as a shameless self-promoter, a character trait that had significant implications for his future career trajectory as a media entrepreneur. Boreing further discusses the establishment of the Daily Wire. So the podcast mentions that Ben Shapiro's a child prodigy, and Caleb Robinson were forced into different paths than what they initially imagined for themselves, but found their paths collectively converging at the formation of the Daily Wire. Boreing recounts his initial meeting with Shapiro, where he recognized him as a once-in-a-generation talent. While Shapiro was a Harvard-trained attorney working operationally, Boreing considered him an invaluable asset for the company due to his exceptional speaking speed and attribution others saw as a liability. On personal branding, Boreing cites the examples of Cristiano Ronaldo and Elon Musk to stress how individuals with personal brands are often more influential than corporate brands to media consumers. Hence, Boreing states that he advised Ben Shapiro to capitalize on his personality, allowing him to impact political and cultural discussions more effectively. Further, Boreing stresses the importance for individuals in the finance influence space to have authentic insight and offer a unique perspective to their audience. He uses the example of Michael, one Daily Wire host who read extensively to increase his insight and knowledge. Boreing highlights the importance of wealth creation, not just wealth perpetuation via value generation in the market for long-term financial success. Adding on to this, they mention that the successful influencers a decade from now will likely be ones who don't pander to their audience, but rather provide genuine insight while representing their audience authentically. Chris Williamson brings up the concept of treating one's chosen professional path like an athlete, consistently working to better oneself and improve one's skills, thus enhancing authenticity and value over time. In the conversation, hosts Chris Williamson and Jeremy Boreing delve deeper into the intricacies of entrepreneurship, the process of personal growth as an influencer, and their shared beliefs about the impact of fame, wealth, and power. The discussion moves towards focus, with Boreing emphasizing the time management skills required to stay on target. He believes that minimizing inconveniences can be paramount to enhancing productivity in the process of growth, citing examples like folding laundry versus reading. The hosts agree on the value of maximizing time spent on tasks that contribute to one's own personal or professional growth. Boreing also explores the potential pitfalls of prioritizing convenience, arguing that while it is necessary for time efficiency, becoming overly reliant on others for trivial tasks can lead to a detachment from common humanity. The limit of success, according to Boreing, lies in its potential to make individuals less empathetic due to their constant pursuit of convenience. Williamson expands on the discussion, bringing up the concept of leverage mentioned in the book. The Almanac of Naval by friend Eric Jorgensen. He notes how outsourcing has become a popular strategy among successful individuals, but cautions that outsourcing one's humanity should never be an option. On this note, the hosts agree there are certain aspects of human nature that even the most successful entrepreneurs should hold on to. The conversation then transitions towards the importance of balancing content production. Williamson quizzes Boreing about the accusations against the rights for producing reactionary content. Boreing responds, admitting that while the right may indeed be reactionary, this tendency has always been pivotal in maintaining societal balance. Boreing argues that a healthy society needs a healthy left-leaning population to challenge the status quo, paired with a healthy right-leaning populace to preserve the status quo. However, where the conservative right has become radical or revolutionary, it risks reversing progress. He concludes with the paradoxical challenge for the right-leaning population: battling the worst instincts of the left without embracing the worst instincts of the right. As they continue their exchange, the hosts highlight the steep learning curve that comes with navigating the blurred lines between fame, wealth, and power. They posit that only through careful execution can the benefits of these attributes be harnessed while resisting their corrosive effects. Within the realm of politics, Boreing introduces two important concepts: lowercase are republicanism and populism. He describes populism as the desire to give the people what they want. However, he disputes this definition, arguing that populism actually caters to the wants of a specific group, often ignoring the needs of others. In the case of republicanism, on the other hand, according to Boreing, is the process of representing the values and interests of a select audience while also guiding them by challenging their worst instincts. He emphasizes that a balance must be struck between populist tyranny and authoritarian control by a singular elite group. Boreing believes that this delicate equilibrium reflects a dedication to both populism and republicanism, acknowledging the inherent conflict while striving to manage the dichotomy. Despite the tendency to follow and trust individuals who speak forbidden truths, Boreing urges skepticism and discernment. He cautions against the cultism that can arise from blindly following someone solely because they unveiled a truth, highlighting elements within the conservative, right, that misdiagnose and prescribe solutions to societal issues. Boreing attributes this problem to a reactionary stance under the weight of prolonged social and political defeat, quoting financial advice given by people without wealth as an example. He suggests that much of the received wisdom might originate from flawed axiomatic ideas due to their seemingly intuitive truth. Boreing also discusses the danger of cult leaders capitalizing on their platform's influential power to propagate their own ideas, irrespective of their truth or ethical value. As popularity and influence increase, there's a risk that motivations can shift from upholding truth to maintaining the power, fame, and wealth stemming from their platform. He advocates for constant self-verification of the truth of one's words and actions, ensuring they align with the good intentions that initially spurred their journey. Boreing also elaborates on the benefits of camaraderie within their community. This close-knit environment fosters mutual growth and encourages individuals to validate their beliefs and opinions against those of their peers, helping prevent their ideas from straying beyond their domains of competency. As a result, the group serves as a valuable sounding board that bolsters genuine personal growth and helps maintain integrity in their professional endeavors. The discussion between Chris Williamson and Jeremy Boreing touches on intricacies within the political landscape, methods of communication and representation, acceptance and implementation of moral standards, and the culture wars dynamic state. Expounding upon the concept of a crucible, Boreing suggests that political and moral beliefs should be subject to thorough scrutiny, testing, and analysis to ensure their validity. Boreing applauds the left, their propensity for empathy, and their concern for marginalized individuals within society. He identifies creativity as a sphere dominated by the left, challenge the right needs to conquer to counter narrative monopoly. Central to Boreing's ethos is a focus on action besides criticism, championing the pursuit of original content that promotes the conservative cause whilst also being entertaining and engaging. Boreing introduces the purity death spiral concept, warning against measured morality solely by public persona. He highlights the risk of pandering to an audience's demand for wholesomeness instead of pushing content boundaries. Boreing asserts that an honest representation of humanity's imperfect nature supersedes pandering and purity, answering the question of what the right can learn from the left. Boreing notes the left's ability to engage with those whose lives have deviated from the societal ideal. He urges the right to provide answers for the now, what questions, recognizing that life is messy and rarely fits the moral and societal ideals often held up for admiration. Discussing media and culture, Boreing emphasizes the quest for entertainment that not only represents audiences but also articulates their undisclosed authentic desires. The Daily Wire aims to strike a balance between depicting moral, philosophical, and political ideals and providing a platform for grace and opportunities catering to individuals at their current life stage. Finally, Boreing touches on the fear of mockery and joking that's prevalent even within right-wing circles. He explains that this fear often stems from a misplaced emphasis on purity and public persona. He finishes by expressing the desire for a right-wing approach that doesn't seek EA purity compacts, but is grounded in thoughtfulness, understanding, and acceptance of human imperfectness. And the conversation between Chris Williamson and Jeremy Boreing transcends ideological challenges, exploring the consequences of leadership power dynamics, the future of content creation, and the shift in technology's interface with society. Boring conjectures that we may have witnessed the pinnacle of the woke culture in summer 2020, although he laments that the bureaucratic imposition still curtails freedom. Addressing fears about a latent European-style conflict. Boring advocates for robust leadership on the right that emphasizes meaningful action over retaliation. They dissect the transformation in content consumption. While politics, arguably an older demographics purview, struggles with innovation, younger individuals shape culture rapidly, driving conversations and challenging old norms. The seismic shift presents challenges, Boring explains, but also enormous potential. He touches on the creator economy's impact, where young people can voice their opinions without gatekeepers. The removal of these gatekeepers, however, also paves the way for infesting bad ideas, signifying the loss of a filtering mechanism and wisdom. The analogy of technology representing a hardware change and societal adaptation as a software change adds further depth to their argument. Boring proposes that most of today's problems stem from mishandling the internet and mass communication, failing to develop software fast enough to match the hardware changes. Entertainment discussion unveils Boring's eclectic taste. From Gary Vee to NPR, his favorites reflect a desire for continuous learning. In a world crowded with voices, Boring appreciates content that challenges his existing notions while providing profound insights. He advocates for bringing a sense of wisdom and originality to his productions at the Daily Wire, mirroring the approach of his favorites. Reflecting on the changing cultural landscape, Boring notes that politics and content creation trademark different generations. While politics bear the footprint of an older demographic, younger individuals increasingly dominate the content creation and cultural discourse arenas. This dichotomy brings forth the challenge of losing gatekeepers responsible for filtering out bad ideas, but also allows good ideas to flow unopposed. Leveraging this power of voice responsibly is crucial. Navigating the abrupt and massive alterations in technology, Boring introduces the notion of technology being a hardware change. According to his analogy, societal adjustments represent software changes, and we as a society struggle to develop the right software to match the hardware advances. He suggests that our failure to understand and use the internet and mass communication effectively forms the root cause of most problems today. Speaking on content consumption and creation, Boring reveals a diverse taste, from listening to Gary Vee's pushy challenges to the thoughtful offerings of NPR, despite ideological differences. His consumption choices mirror his aim to bring depth and a blend of wisdom and challenge to the productions of the Daily Wire. He appreciates content that not only entertains, but also incites introspection and growth. Williamson and Boring's discussion continues in their lively exchange of favorite content creators, with Boring highlighting Stephen Crowder's humor and Glenn Beck's broadcasting skills. Suggestions for potential acquisitions like Douglas Murray add a layer of fun speculation, hinting at possible future directions for the Daily Wire. Mention of new ventures such as the kids app Binkley and politically incorrect animated show Rum reveals the breadth of the Daily Wire's multimedia approach, promising engaging experiences for different audiences. In his discourse on future ventures, Boring introduces his new projects, including animated comedy series Burum, the Pendragon Cycles, Lady Bullers, and more. The Benkeys app aimed at nurturing children without the intense cultural pressures of the adult world holds a meaningful place for him. He concludes this segment on an introspective note while maintaining an open dialogue about forthcoming opportunities and challenges. Throughout their engaging conversation, Chris Williamson and Jeremy Boreing dive into weighty subjects like First Amendment rights, parental pushback against controversial educational content, and the power structure inherent in publishing. Boreing voices his bemusement at the lack of parental pushback against controversial content in educational materials. He cites the case in Idaho, where global publishing giant Penguin Random House has sued over a state law banning schools from having literature that depicts sexual activity. Boreing underlines a commonly overlooked fact: that children don't have unlimited free speech rights. The argument surrounding whether publishers can sell sexually explicit content to kids indicate society's core values have gone awry. This harrowing reality makes him notably proud of Daily Wire achievements, particularly the Binkies app. Aimed at nurturing children away from the adult world's cultural pressures, it offers a platform for imagination, wonder, and creativity. Boreing highlights the Daily Wire originals on the app, notably the animated show Chip Chiller and the live-action show Mabel Malay, asserting the potential to build something meaningful. Amid this thrill, Boreing doesn't miss nudging towards their latest cinematic venture, the Lady Ballers. While there are no discount codes available at the moment, he mentions ongoing subscriptions at a significant discount. DailyWirePlus.com is the way to go for viewers wishing to explore this concept. The conversation keeps unfolding through an exchange of opinions, ideals, and foresights, setting the stage for more intriguing episodes. It encapsulates the dichotomy of free speech, the impact of controversial educational content, the interesting dynamics of the publishing world, and the decision-making process at the nexus of culture, content creation, and societal norms. Moving forward, the duo continues to challenge, ponder, and provoke, unperturbed by the complexity or gravity of the topics on the table, while leaving listeners on tenterhooks for the next revelation or argument in the offing.